today is the day that we've been building up for since the beginning of time. This is the biggest transfer window in Celtic's history. This will be the transfer window where we're more likely to spend more than any time before if we can get the players in that Brendan Rodgers wants by the end of today. With 14 hours, 19 minutes to go in the transfer window, it's the late show from Celtic. It is the late show from Celtic. It is what it is, but I think a lot of us would have preferred to have get the deals done a lot quicker. A lot quicker. I'm not going to slag off the board anymore. I think that the fact that they were getting the finger out now and we're making moves to get late deals in and spend some decent money. And I think that's what's most important thing is that we can make this squad better. But before we talk about the transfer window and before we talk about players that may or may not leave in the next 14 hours, who's got a timer on? In the next 14 hours. We need to talk about the game this weekend because there's a few new players that would be in town today. Trusty deal. Well, let's talk about the game this weekend first of all. And talk about players that you would leave out of this team. What players would you leave out? Because let's face it, the team that started at the weekend, Schmeichel, will go to the back four. Greg Taylor, Scales, Carter Vicker, Ali Johnston. There's two players in mind there that may drop out this weekend, or they may not drop out this weekend. It's an important game, and it's a hard one for Brendan Rodgers. Does he put them in for a baptism of fire? Does he bring the new players in for a baptism of fire? Does he do that because, especially with little Alex Valley coming in, I think that it would give Rangers something different to think about. Will Brendan Rodgers mix it up this weekend? Will he mix it up at all? I'm just seeing this. Sorry, bro. I just reading your message, Lanky. Will Brendan Rodgers mix it up this weekend to give the new co something different to think about? Now, with the money that we're spending for midfield players coming in, does Paulo Bernardo keep his position? Callum McGregor obviously keeps his position, but will Rio Hatate retain his position? Will Rio Hatate be in the right frame of mind after being subject to another transfer window of possibilities of leaving the club? And it has been said that Rio Hatate is one player that's come out and said that he'd like to play at a higher level domestically, and it looks like he won't get his way again this summer. Celtic have said that they're not selling him. With that being said, will Brendan Rodgers keep him in the team, or will give the Sevco something new to think about and bringing in one of the new guys? And then up front, the last game we started with Dyson on one side, James Forrest on the other, and Adam Ida on the other side, keeping Kyogo on the bench. Would you start Adam Ida from the start? Or would you bring back Kyogo just to get right into them? Or would you protect Kyogo? Would you protect Kyogo from over-exuberant tackles in the first half just to make sure that everything's okay for the Champions League? Because we really need our best players fully fit for the Champions League, and Adam Ida and Kyogo are one of those players. With the new players that are coming in, I mean, who does Brendan leave out the team? Brendan Rodgers has got a hard day off. Day off having a cup of tea, Baz Life, says Steve McDonald. I'm jumping into the comments in a minute. I'm not expecting a massive load of people on this morning because so yesterday it was Champions League draw day. Today it's transfer deadline day. Tomorrow I'm 42 and the Huns are getting smashed on Sunday. Just a superb weekend. Just a superb week being a Tim. Right, let's jump into the comment section. I did ask the question this morning, should we keep Louis Palma? There's been speculation that Louis Palma is upsetting the apple cart. He's a player that thinks he comes out of South America and he thinks he should be playing. He's another player that thinks he should be playing at a higher level in Spain. But nobody's coming for him. It's a matter of fact that nobody from Spain, anyway, is coming for him. There has been a bid coming for him, but Celtic have rejected it, allegedly. But if a bid comes in today, should we sell Louis Palma? And 66% are saying yes, 34% are saying no. 34% are saying no. We've got 95 votes on the poll already, and people are saying Where is the poll? Well, if you don't see the comment section live after the live's finished, you'll not see the poll. Anyway, let's jump into the comments section this morning. Richard Smith was first in. I'm sorry, I'm just watching Sky Sports News at the same time. Multitasking isn't for men, especially when you're trying to keep a live stream going, read the comments, and watch TV. Anyway, Richard was first in, said good morning. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Stephen Johnson was in, spoke to you, Stephen. Carly, the big house must stay open. The big house must stay open. Richard Smith says, here's Facebook. Get arrested for using Twitter. Yep. The message was for Stephen, mate. Sorry. And then I replied to Stephen. Zach says, usual rushing the door behaviour from Celtic in the last day of the transfer window. Sack the board, says Zach. O'Reilly talking to Brighton for 2 months and me signing a player to replace him 2 days before the window shuts. Penny pinching for a year, only looking for the money in the bank. David says, how much are we going to lose tax if we don't spend, for fuck's sake? The money, we've actually spent quite a bit of money this transfer window, so I'm not really worried about the money that Celtic's going to pay in tax. Michael Ross said it would be idyllic idiotic to sell of any of our squad this late, as we don't have time to bring in the replacement. 3 in today, says John O'Brien. Well, we know that we're going to get Arnie Engels in. We know that we're getting Trusty in. We're going to talk about the transfers in a minute. So, yeah, there could be a possibility of 3 players coming into Celtic today. That wasn't given a penalty for that. Seriously? Real Madrid had to get a penalty. They got a penalty last night, and it should never have been a penalty. The guy's sliding in with his hand at his side. That's worse than Scottish football. But the good news is, Real Madrid could only get a draw. Means the Barca are still sitting top of the league, I think. But anyway, who cares? It's about Scottish football. So yeah, hail, hail the champions, it says Michael Ross. Michael says it would be idiotic to sell any of our squad. I think there's going to be a few players leave today, mate. So just watch the window. Watch the window. I think it's going to be one of those days where we're going, holy shit, Celtic have actually got their finger out late on. And it'll be interesting to see who's left come the end of the day. Joseph Davison says, hail, hail, good morning, Baz. Evan Sean says, of course, it's off. Another loan. The money spent end up last minute panic signings coming in. We'll talk about that in a second because it was a loan with an option to buy for 8 million. A loan with an option to buy for 8 million. So it wasn't just a loan for a player that is, but an option. They deemed the option to buy for 8 million was not enough for the player. And I mean, Martin says, wouldn't be Celtic without some last minute wheeling and dealing. Morning Baz. And all says, Sean Lanky's in the house. We're always in chat with Chelsea for their centre mid. Link with the winger from down south. I think if any business is going to happen this late on, I think it will be UK based players. I think the deal with getting players in from abroad would have really had to have happened last night to get it done and dusted and get them flown over today for a medical and get it all done and dusted. It's late show, isn't it, from Celtic? But anyway, we've got a full day of transfer speculation left. 1 day, and then the window slams shut, shatters the glass. No, the sound of the glass shattering is Ibrox. As Ibrox falling down at their feet. Big Rabbi I keep wanting to say Rabsi. Rabbi Niz. I keep wanting to say, I want to call you Big Rabsi for some reason. Don't care about the timing as long as the players are the right players to get into the starting 11. Well, that's what we're just going to talk about in a minute. And it's like, who do we drop out from the team from last week to bring these players in? Carly says it doesn't even feel like Derby weekend. All the attention on the window The derby barely mentioned. That's the way that I want it. I want Celtic to be fully focused behind the scenes. The media haven't had a chance to listen to their nonsense from across the road. And I mean, they started trash talk on Monday. They tried to take control of the media on Monday and start trash talking and saying, we're going to do things next weekend. We're going to beat Celtic. And then Celtic just went, we're not even talking about that. We've got a Champions League draw to talk about this week. We've got transfer deadline day before we even think about starting to worry about the game on Sunday. So don't even ask us any questions about the Sevco. You're the Sevco in disguise. Yes, you are. You're Sevco in disguise. Anyway, we wouldn't have got Ingles a lot cheaper if we bid for him months ago. We would have got Ingles, would we have? Just leaving that pushes the price up. That's typical idiotic transfer dealings this late. And Stephen McDonald saying that he's having a day off for a cup of tea. And he's loving life. Joseph says, no, we'll keep the same starting 11. Interesting. Same team as last week. I'm going to miss out some of the comments now because you're talking about yourself. Celtic got bigger fish to fry. They do have way bigger fish to fry. Way bigger. Baz, we don't want to end up like that a lot across the city, penniless. Spacey, there is absolutely no chance in the world will Celtic ever end up in the situation that mob across the road are in. Not a chance. Not a chance. Every Celtic fan knows that. So this nonsense that, oh, you've got to protect the money. We're never going to end up in that situation. Never. So you can't even say that as a comment. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's a ridiculous comment. Anyway, Lone Yang by Danny Armstrong for Kelly, 500k squad player. Interesting. Would you sell Yang? Like I say, his question for you is drink or no drink this weekend? I've been sober since May. Personally, I'd go down the no drink route because you'll be much fresher for it. I mean, even though I live here and drink is cheap as chips, I mean, I don't drink a lot. Um, I would go down the no drink route. You feel much better. You wake up fresh in the morning. There's nothing worse than a hangover. You wake up fresh, lanky. Don't spoil it. Fight it. Carly, lanky. We win, and I'm on the cocktails. I'm not adverse to a few cocktails. I could do a cocktail if we win this weekend. They're pissed how much we've got for Mikey Johnson, their TikTok. Yeah, no, we got much more. And did you see that? I'd seen that thing on Twitter, which was absolutely hilarious. That we've got more than Mikey Johnson they have for about 10 players combined. And McGowan, I'm waiting to see what happens with him. I only drink on the odd occasion and smoke the weed. Pina colada days is Joseph. Anyway, people are coming and going in the live this morning. You expect that with a live first thing in the morning. You're not expecting big, massive numbers like what you do at night because everyone's got work to go to. But some of us are going to sit and watch the transfer window as much as they can all day. This is the day that I've had planned for weeks. And 14 hours and 6 minutes to go to the transfer window slam shut. Celtic are trying to get a bit of business done and dusted. Now the Alvin Sanchez deal, that looks like it may be off, but I wouldn't put anything down. Celtic are bringing in Arnie Eagles today. He is sitting his medical today after agreeing a deal with Celtic. He is coming in for a record fee for a 20-year-old at Celtic. The initial fee is 11 million, with 13 million in total guaranteed to his club, with a massive 20% sell-on clause. The fact that Alvin Sanchez is on the radar, but it's been said on the land of Twitter that it doesn't look like the Alvin Sanchez one will happen. Is Luke McGowan still a possible? I've seen that name popping up in the comments there. He won't cost a lot of money. Hibs targeted Luke McGowan, and they're still reporting to whether Dundee will accept a bid of 750k. I think if Edinburgh club Hibernian are trying to get young McGowan, I think Celtic would nip in at the last minute. Would Celtic nip in at the last minute, or would they let him go to Hibs and then see how he does at Hibs for a year? Nah, he's at the age where if he's 26-year-old, I don't think that Celtic at 26-year-old he doesn't really fit the age dynamics of the players that we've been bringing in this transfer window, does he? Um, it doesn't really fit the model that Brendan Rodgers seems to be building. If you look at if you look at the age bracket of the players that we've been buying in, I mean, we all spoke about experience and bringing in a different level of player. But Brendan Rodgers seems to have got players at a younger age that are better than what we're already at Celtic, if you can go by the transfer fees that we're paying for them. So the fact that we've got Austin Trusty in, that deal is done and dusted, has been said, and with a 6 million deal. It'll be interesting. But we did have a bid rejected late last night. We had a bid rejected for an €8 million clause for a teenager. Celtic have had a loan with an option to buy offer rejected by French side Lyon for midfielder Mahamadou Diawara. And the French team knocked back the bid for the 19-year-old. A 19-year-old with a loan deal with an option to buy for 8 million, and they said no, the option to buy isn't enough. We think he's worth more than that. Why? I mean, I can understand why we're doing the loan with the option to buy. We did the exact same with Jota. We did the exact same with Cameron Carter-Vickers. We did the exact same with Paulo Bernardo. If the young guy is good enough, um, and we think that he's going to be worth more, he has to be obviously in the future going to be worth a lot more than €8 million. But that way, no bid was knocked back last night. To me, that Celtic are still actively in the market this late on, so it's going to be an interesting day. It's going to be an interesting day to see how many players we can actually get in this late stage of the transfer window. Lanky says, I said for a while now that McGowan could be like Paul Hartley for us. Yep. Luke would be nothing more than a squad player at best, says Paul. That's what I'm thinking, because you look at the team from last week. I mean, do we keep the same team? Do we start with the same team and have all the new players on the bench? Does the young guy for Barcelona nudge Greg Taylor out the way to give the manager a different option from the start? Has he had enough days in training? He was at Celtic Park last night with some of the players and the staff watching the Champions League draw. And probably because Celtic haven't got him a flat yet, he'll still be staying in a hotel. He'll be staying in a hotel till Celtic can get him fixed up with an apartment somewhere in the West End, no doubt. But it'll be interesting to see if what happens with the team. I'm just trying to see if we can get some updates. There's nothing. It's going to be a quiet morning. I think it's all going to start coming to life. It is only 9 o'clock Celtic Park time. People will have been in the offices at Celtic Park trying to get on the phone to people in Europe, because obviously Europe's ahead in front. So they would have been in 8 o'clock this morning. Let's get deals done. Get back on the phone. Can we get this deal done today? Nicholson will have his money cut out today, I tell you that. If he can get the players in that Brendan Rodgers is trying to get in this late stage. Look, we all know that it's not first choice players, but there are players at the club that are not overly excited about what's going on at Celtic. Tomoki Iwata, for one, who can't get in a game, and then you've got Lewis Palmer, who has been alleged is trying to get away. Well, that Celtic want him gone, but that's all just speculation. Now, there was a link going around the land of Twitter for the games for the Champions League. I've been reliably informed that those games that were said as confirmed are not. But you never know. But the source that said that were not confirmed is a really good source. That has a lot of connections in the main, in Celtic Park. We're sitting on 18,472. Can we get 20 subscribers before the end of this evening? And it has all been about the last 24 hours. It has all been about the fact that we do play Leipzig, Borussia Dortmund. That's going to be a fantastic away game in November. But I think you're going to have a lot of snow, and I don't really fancy going to a away trip where it's going to be cold, and snowy. That's the only thing that puts me off away trips. It's too cold. It's far too cold. Germany in November. Club Brugge at home, Atalanta in Italy, and young boys, and Aston Villa, the big one for me. Will they call it the Battle of Britain? Now, the Champions League, the good thing about the Champions League is we missed the big guns. We missed we missed the big Spanish teams, which I thought was good for a change because we haven't fared too well with the big Spanish teams. We missed big teams in England, not only Man City. But getting Aston Villa, it'll be something new for us. The Brendan Rodgers and the board must have been sitting last night, and the folk and the staff at Celtic Park, everyone in the training side of it, must have been sitting at that last night and going, "Yep, I think we can beat them. Yep, I think we can beat them." You know, the guys that do all the stats and do all the stuff in the background would have looked at every team in the Champions League, and they were sitting this morning with a dossier of information to give Brendan Rodgers of stats and whatnot of all the teams in the Champions League, and then Brendan will sit down with the boys, and then they'll try and plan out our success route. They will try and plan out our success route in the Champions League, and I've got to say, it is a group that. I mean, is it easier? I mean, the Italians made it to the Europa Cup final last year, and they won that. That's how they're in the Champions League. That's no walkover itself. I think there are two hard games, maybe three in that group. I would say Leipzig, Dortmund, and the game in Italy will be the really hard games. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what throws up a few surprises. Because let's face it, I think it's Aston Villa's first journey into the Champions League, isn't it? So they'll not know what to expect. They'll just try and play their own game. But anyway, it is all about Celtic. Hail, hail, Baz from sunny Cumbernauld. If it's sunny in Cumbernauld, we've got your cloud. We've got your cloud. Stephen Johnston is giving everybody a thumbs up and some little emojis. Love the good old hot box, guys. What? No idea. I've said it for a while. McGowan could be like Paul Hartley at Parkhead. It says lanky. It would be a squad player, says Paul. I'm going to jump through some of the comments. Ewan Boy says if we can sign quality winger, then we'll be happy to sell Palma. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens today because I think there could be a line that the window closes at 11 o'clock tonight. Celtic Park time, 12 o'clock European time. So it's going to be a late night. And I think we'll know by around about 9 o'clock if Celtic's business is done and dusted for the day. I think we will know by then. It'll be interesting to see what Brendan Rodgers says to the media today. We forgot that we've even got the press conference. So, we will go live right after the Brendan Rodgers press conference has been put out on the social medias. It'll be put out. You'll get a player put out first of all. It'll be interesting if Valley is put out to speak to the media. He was put out to speak to the media yesterday, so I doubt he'll be speaking to them today. It'll more than likely be Callum McGregor. Or will it be Casper Schmeichel? Will it be Callum or Casper who will speak to the media today? We forgot all about this. We forgot that we've got media stuff going on today, and we've got Brendan Rodgers to talk to about a game this weekend. I wonder how much he'll actually speak about the game this weekend. I think a lot of the conversation will obviously be about transfers today, players that are coming in this morning. We know that two players are coming in, and how many he expects. They will ask how many he'll expect in this afternoon. and then we'll get an indication of when we think that Celtic's business will be done for the day. Fixtures confirmed tomorrow, Daniel. Yes, the fixtures are confirmed this tomorrow. There was a fixture list going around Twitter last night saying it was confirmed, but I asked someone who sits in the main stand and who has close connections to Brendan on a family basis, and he said that they were nonsense and nobody was booking for any of the European games until it's confirmed by Celtic. Hail from Cumbernauld. The Donkey Bus says, if I flop, gives Bruges any advice. If flop gives Bruges any advice. We're on a cricket score against them. I think Bruges will be an easy team to beat. I just got a funny feeling. Just got a funny feeling. I'm waiting for William Hill to get me the price for Celtic to go to the next stage. £100 getting put on, says Lanky. And as soon as he has done it, send it to me on Twitter, mate, and I'll put it up in here so that everyone can see the actual bet that you've put on. Send me a screenshot of it. When you look at the teams that we're playing, I mean, there has to be a chance this season for Celtic to go through. There has to be. I mean, I was overly confident last year, and look how that worked out. I thought we would have got more than I thought we were going to get around about 7 points last year. I'm not even going to put a number on the points that we could get this year. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to take it one game at a time, like the squad and the players do, and enjoy the football, and see where it takes us. See where it takes us, and can we finish far enough up this league? Can we finish? Because remember, it is all the one league. Even though that we have our group of teams that we're playing, we are all in the one league, which is an interesting way of doing it. It's a bit like the split in Scottish football. It's like we're basically starting at the split and then going forward from there, which is bizarre. And the split, I want rid of the split in Scottish football, but we'll see how this Champions League pans out over the next few months until January. Right, let me just click back onto this screen, get some comments in. It's another 11 million euros for the last 16. I think there's only so many teams that are guaranteed to go to the last 16, isn't there? And then I think there's a playoff. I don't know, I'm not sure. No matter how this day ends, Nicholson is still for the noose. Yeah. Palmer's right foot is as rare as signings. Craig White walking in Govan. Yep. Right, I'm going to finish the poll because we're struggling to get numbers on the poll this morning. There's been 1,000 people in the first 28 minutes, which is good, which is better than a normal video. In the first half an hour, the video usually gets around about 700 views in the first half hour, so it's not been too bad for the live this morning. I will be jumping on and off lives all day. If you had been picking homemade matches in Europe, it could hardly be better. Yeah, it could. This is true, and I think that we've got a great chance with this new format. And I think the fact that the format has changed could be the thing that Celtic need to just help us out in Europe, because I think we've needed the help in Europe. I watch Young Boys are no pushovers. Yep. Right, let's finish this poll off this morning. Apologies if you can't see the poll. It's because you're watching the replay and not the actual live. And the poll is on the live comment section. Should we keep Lewis Palmer? Yes said 69%, and no said 30%. There was 264 votes for that. Same with Bruges. They ain't no mugs. Yeah, they ain't no mugs. But let's just see how Celtic can perform. Let's just see how these new guys fit in. fit in. Everyone needing their Celtic updates on deadline day. Everyone's needing their Celtic update at deadline day. Keep an eye on the channel. I will be going live every few hours. As soon as there's any Celtic news, I will jump straight onto a live. We're going to be here most of the day. I predict that we'll get 11 points, 3 home wins, and 2 draws. 2 draws, 1 at home and 1 away. Looking at other teams' games, they'll be knocking points off each other. Yes, they will that. No pushovers in the Champions League. I just hope Celtic aren't. Yep. Lorna Gallagher says, sorry I was late. She's been making her hubby breakfasts. That's priorities. God. Do you hear that? Hand of God. See what I mean? Priorities. Um, where's your yellow tie, Baz? What do I want a yellow tie for? Lorna, I'll tell you how he can do it himself. Yeah, I had to make breakfast myself. Anyway, on that note, I shall see you. I'm not exactly sure of the time, but as soon as Celtic put out any information, we are on 18,474. Let's see if we can get to the big one. 18,500. It's not the big one, is it? The 20,000 is the big one, but we're trying to get to 18,500 before the end of the transfer window. Can we do it? Here's hoping.